Yes.
You were not happy about this.
In Avengers Endgame.
In Avengers Endgame, yeah.
Yes. I know. I talked to the Russos.
You called them and said, hey, no.
I was like, I don't know if like.
Were you heading for me or him? I was trying to scare him. I can't tell. Why are you out of your mind?
I don't know if people are gonna. I don't know. I think it's gonna really impact people because they were kids that grew up with that character.
The what? Stay down.
We're good. Stay down. You're right on me. I made it.
It did.
But I have to tell you, it was handled so well by them, and Gwyneth and Robert did such a wonderful job acting, and I think it added a poignancy to it. And it.
What was that?
It's a glitch in my work.
I think they did a wonderful job.
I remember.
So Jon Favreau was on a bit of a press run promoting Grogu and the Mandalorian, the new Star Wars movie, his first Star Wars movie. And he was on Jimmy Kimmel and he was talking about how he was unsure about the news that Tony Stark was going to die at the end of Endgame. And he was so unsure about that ending for that character that he actually ended up calling the Russo brothers and saying like, hey, I don't know if this is a good idea. Maybe we shouldn't do this. Maybe you guys shouldn't do this. Maybe the character deserves a little bit more. He probably didn't say all that, but in my mind, I feel like Jon Favreau feels like he deserved to end Tony Stark's story in the way that he felt fit. Because a lot of people forget this, but back when Jon Favreau started making movies, making Marvel movies specifically, they weren't these big budget, had a lot of studio support. You can get any A-list actor you wanted. Back when he started, it was damn near an independent film that was being made on the set. They had writers on set reworking and writing the script as they moved along. Like, it wasn't some big budget, we have all the money in the world to do whatever we want to do. It was almost a small budget film, and they had a lot riding on it because obviously, this wasn't the first Marvel movie. Like, Blade is the first Marvel movie. And it wasn't the first superhero movie. But it was the first movie of the MCU. And if this movie doesn't work, we're not talking about Avengers Endgame. We don't get there without Iron Man 1. And let's not forget, Jon Favreau had to fight for Robert Downey Jr. to get that part of Tony Stark. There were a lot of other people that the studio would have preferred over Robert Downey Jr., but Jon Favreau went to the studio heads and was like, no, it's got to be this guy. If it's not him, I'm not doing the movie, and the movie won't work. So the idea that, 10, 15 years later, some new directors, some new creators get to come in and determine what happens to the character that you kind of introduced to the world, I understand that he would feel a way about that. Like, if you ask James Gunn in a private moment, like, hey, how did you feel about the Russo brothers killing Gamora at the end of Infinity War? I guarantee you, in a private, honest moment, James Gunn was pissed about that because that's his character. That's someone that he brought to the mainstream, that he brought to the big screen. He curated her storyline, her arc, and I know he had a plan for her in Guardians of the Galaxy 3 along with Peter Quill and Rocket and Groot and Drax and Mantis, like all that. He probably, at the end of Guardians of the Galaxy 2, he was like, okay, well, this is where I want these characters to go. This is how I want their stories to end. And before he even got a chance to do that, the Russo brothers are like, nah, we're going to chuck her off of this cliff over here. And we'll bring in a different version of her. And so I could see as a creative why those two specifically would feel a way about that. Now, obviously, at the end of the day, the Russo brothers not only did they make the right call, but they did it in a way to where it made sense and it paid homage to both of these characters, and they both went out with some dignity. Obviously, both of those deaths hurt as fans to see, but in these movies, especially comic book movies, you have to have some loss. You have to feel something. When Gamora died, the audience felt something. When Tony Stark died, obviously everybody felt something. But you need that. You can't walk up to the line and then just walk it back. You have to cross that line and make the fans hurt. You made it this far. If you have not liked the video at this point, what are you waiting for? Just like the video. Hit the like button right now. You I'm talking to you. Make sure you like the video and subscribe and drop a comment. All that stuff. This is a threat. Not a threat, a warning. But it could be a threat. Just do it. So when thinking about the idea of Tony Stark dying and Jon Favreau not maybe wanting that, it got me to thinking, what if Jon was able to convince the Russo brothers, like, hey, you know what? We're not going to do this. We're going to keep Tony Stark alive. We're going to kill off somebody else. Who are the characters that they could have killed off that would have got the same type of impact the way that Tony's did? Because Tony obviously is the first Avenger. He's the very first person to kick this thing off. He's been in the most movies. He's been in every Avengers movie. He has 3 solo movies. He was in the Spider-Man movie. He was in the Captain America movie. He's pretty much the whole MCU saga, for the most part, revolves around Tony Stark. None of these things happen without Tony Stark's involvement. So who do we lose that makes us feel the way that we felt at the end of Endgame? And we're talking about, obviously, the OG Avengers. Like, you can't kill T'Challa in Endgame and have an audience feel the same type of impact, because we just got introduced to T'Challa. T'Challa's been in, at that point, 3 movies: Civil War, Black Panther, and Infinity War. And to kill him off in Endgame, yeah, I think you anger more people than anything. And I don't think that's kind of the direction that you would want to go. So if we're talking about the OG Avengers, obviously you have like Black Widow, who got clapped in Endgame. You have Hawkeye. You have Captain America, who already had a, storyline written for him. So we can't kill him off. That leaves us with just 2 choices. We have Bruce Banner and we have Thor. Now, I think the best one that would have made us feel something would have been Thor, because he has lost at that point so much up to this point of the story. Like, he lost his father, he lost his brother, he lost his mother, he lost his sister, he lost his planet, he lost his hammer. So if you kill Thor at the end of Endgame, on the positive side, we don't get Thor Love and Thunder, which sucked ass. So that might have been the best, option for us as fans. And there is a way to kill off Thor and make it, give him an honorable death, a god's death, because when he tries to go back and get revenge on Thanos, he never lands a single hit on him. He never touches him. He's unable to extract that revenge on Thanos. So imagine Thor and Thanos going head to head, blow for blow, like going at it hard, knocking him down with Stormbreaker, having to fight back against that, double wielding sword. And Thor is, weak towards the end because we think he might lose again. And somehow he gets the gauntlet and snaps it away, and he redeems himself as a character. And he goes off to Valhalla with his dad, his mom, his sister, Heimdall, gets his hammer back, and he's just off for eternity, living the life that he gets a god's finish. So you could make that work. That wouldn't have been as bad. Obviously, it's still not the same impact as Tony Stark, but Thor is not a bad option. Now, when it comes to the Hulk, I just feel like we hadn't seen enough of him at that point to really miss him, essentially. Like, we saw him in the solo movie with Edward Norton. We got him in Avengers. We got him in all the Avengers, and we got him in Thor Ragnarok. So he's been a constant force in these movies, but he's never really had that emotional pull that we get from other characters. So killing off the Hulk probably doesn't hit the same. I'm gonna go ahead and tell you guys something. About 90% of you guys that watch this video are not subscribed to the channel. Don't be a weirdo. Subscribe to the channel. Don't be part of the 90%. Be a part of the 10%. And let's get that 10% to 90%. So 90% of you guys that are watching are actually subscribed. That would help me out a lot. Cost you nothing. It's free, and I'd appreciate it. Now, if we want to talk about some of the negative things that Tony Stark's death kind of put on the rest of the MCU, you could look at Endgame itself. Black Widow is original Avenger. She was in Iron Man 2. She's been in every Avengers movie. She's been in she's been in 2 Captain America movies. She's a pivotal character in the entire saga. And she died in Endgame, and there wasn't no ceremony for her. There was no burial for her. There was no acknowledgement for her. She had a 30-second scene post them coming back from the time travel. So if Tony Stark doesn't die, maybe we focus more on Natasha's character. Maybe we give her flowers a little bit more and kind of, showcase and highlight how she was one of the few non-superhumans. She was just a regular person out there laying her life on the line for everybody with no superpowers, with no super soldier serum, no high-tech gadgets, no suit of armor, none of that stuff. And instead, her death is overlooked, overshadowed, and forgotten. But if we look at the positives for Tony Stark's death, when we're talking about other characters, you look at Peter Parker. Imagine if Tony Stark hadn't died. You look at Spider-Man Homecoming, where his mentor is Tony Stark. If Tony Stark doesn't die in Endgame, in the second Spider-Man, he continues to have to live in that shadow of Iron Man. Obviously, he still wants to try to be his own guy, but he would still have Iron Man. He would still have Tony Stark to lean on. Someone to give him upgrades to his suit. Someone to give him advice. And for Peter Parker's character to grow, you do have to break him down. He did need to go through that emotional, okay, I've lost my mentor. Wasn't my fault. I couldn't be there to help him. And look towards someone else and maybe find the wrong person to look up to. But you need that for him to grow as an individual. So for character development wise, it was vital that Tony Stark had to die at the end of Endgame. But when we talk about historically in a lot of movies, Tony Stark's death is one of the greatest movie deaths of all time. Like, not just in comic book movies, in movies in general. When you think about where that character started from, how his arc changed and grew throughout the 10 to 15 years of that character, to him ultimately making the ultimate sacrifice. The selfish playboy billionaire decides to sacrifice himself for others. Imagine if other billionaires were able to make any kind of sacrifice. But anyways, we don't have to get into that. Let me know in the comments how you feel about this video. Do you think Tony Stark should have died? Would Endgame have hit the same if Thor died instead? And when is this Avengers Doomsday trailer dropping? It should be dropping soon. So let me know in the comments. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. See you on the next one. Peace.
Thanks for watching, babe. Make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel.